welcome to this web panel discussion about Boundless design from Sweden. My name is Cecilia Ask Engtröm and I work as a Director of Industrial Development at TMF. We are an organization, trade and employers organization representing the wood processing and furniture industry in Sweden. But now I would like to give a warm welcome to our web panel in this discussion with today's topic of Boundless Swedish design. Welcome Cristiano Pigazzini, Design Manager at Note. Could you tell us what Note Design Studio is?
Yes, hi everyone, and thank you for inviting me to this panel. Note, we are a Stockholm-based design studio. We were born in 2009, and we work in the different field of design, from architecture to strategic design, product design. And we are 20 people in the studio now, and we have a kind of philosophy to try to work without any hierarchy. So that has been our goal from the beginning. And I think we have been quite long with that, and we are still improving and try to get better. As a studio, we work in around the world with the client from many different countries, and of course a lot of Scandinavian and Swedish companies. So I think it's very much about this for me.
Thank you, Cristiano. Really impressing about what Note is doing. I would also like to welcome Jenny Bergström, Project Manager for the Design Movement at the Swedish Institute. Could you shortly tell us what the Swedish Design Movement is?
Yes, I'll be happy to. So I'm Jenny Bergström. I work at the Swedish Institute in Stockholm, and that is a public agency belonging to the Ministry for Foreign Affairs. And we are now taking over the management for a governmental program or initiative that we call the Swedish Design Movement. And it's a program that will be running for at least a year, hopefully longer, and that aims to position Sweden as a design nation internationally. I mean, we do already have a position, but we want to strengthen that. And it's also part of the government's export and investment strategy. And it has been running since 2016 already, managed by our colleagues at Visit Sweden until now. And we will work very closely with the industry, of course. And we have 4 partners, industry representatives, and they are TMF, where Cecilia is working, the Society of Crafts and Design, Svensk Form, Architects Sweden, and the Swedish Fashion Association. So it's a diverse group that has come together with this goal of strengthening Sweden's position in the design world.
Thank you. And a very warm welcome to Mimmi Rickardsson-Lindau, a member company of TMF, Blå Station, owner and export director. What products do you have at Blå Station, Mimmi?
Hi, I'm Mimmi, also very happy to be part of this panel today. Well, the products we have, we believe deserve to be on the market. They are all developed from an innovative perspective, and they high quality, good design, functionality, and sustainability as well, natural ingredients. And we have had that as a goal since we started in 1986. And we are very curious. We try to put furniture on the market that serves a real purpose and answers to real needs and demands that the market sets. But you can say in short that it's mainly furniture for public and contract projects for environmental places.
And what kind of customers do you have, and to what markets do you export?
Yes, we have our number 1 target group is a customer that don't buy anything. It's the architects, of course, since we are a niche company in our branch. We also focus on many different markets, but our main markets are the Nordic countries, Western Europe, UK, and the biggest and quickest growing market at the moment is the US market. But we sell to very, very many more countries. For us, also being in the contract part of the business, it's very important to find the projects that are made for schools, libraries, companies, and together we must find partners to carry our brand so that we find those projects and find the architects and the ways in.
Thank you, Mimi. Finally, welcome Nazim Kurting, Head of Design at the Office Group, originally from Sydney, Australia, but now based in London. Could you please tell us briefly what the Office Group is?
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here. Yeah, so the Office Group is a flexible workspace provider. We have 43 buildings in the UK as well as in Germany, which is really exciting. And yeah, our core values are based around being distinctive by design, as well as providing spaces for businesses to thrive. So those are our key values, as well as creating a genuine sense of connectivity and wellness and inspiring people in the workspace.
Thank you. Very warm welcome. It would be so nice to have you here. I will get back to you shortly, but first I will give a short introduction to the Swedish furniture industry. The Swedish furniture and interior industry today employs almost 53,000 people and has a yearly turnover of 177 billion Swedish crowns. Our high standards of sustainability in combination with circularity, creativity and innovation has created a global demand for Swedish products. Manufacturing has largely remained in Sweden and is based on flexible production methods, as well as a close relationship between design, product management, manufacturing and sales. This control over the production chain has promoted sustainability and quality. Today, Swedish furniture and interior design are used in public environments, workspaces and private homes around the world. As much as 70% of what's produced in Sweden is exported. That's why we call it Boundless Swedish design. And now, Jenny, I would like to ask you, what are Sweden's strengths in general, but also more specifically in the area of furniture and interior design?
Well, I think that we in Sweden, we work a lot with sustainability, and we have set the goals high when it comes to reaching the UN Agenda 2030 goals. And we want to be a leading nation when it comes to implementing the agenda, both in Sweden but also globally. And I think that many Swedish design companies, designers, architects, and others in the industry, they are really front runners when it comes to actually doing this in real life. And we believe that design is key when it comes to making the shift that we all need to make together. So this is the starting point for the project I was mentioning, the Swedish Design Movement, that we think that design is kind of the bridge between solution and change. And I think we have an ecosystem of very engaged companies and designers and other key players in the industry that are really driving this change. And I think that would be very true for the furniture sector in particular. I mean, we have a big production in Sweden, as you mentioned, and we have raw material when it comes not least to wood. And many design companies, I mean, the business, the whole idea of the business is already circular in many means. So I think this business has come a long way. Yeah.
Thank you. We were very happy last fall when the Duds and Schött report published that 7 of the 10 most sustainable global furniture companies were from Sweden. And we have a very long tradition of working with sustainability, but we never have seen this in a global context and the competition. And I would like to ask Nazim, what does sustainability mean to you in your profession as an architect? Is this an important topic for you?
Yeah, of course, like super important. I think design isn't separate to sustainability. It's the key to it. So I think there's a few aspects here. There's definitely this aspect of reuse, upcycling. That's really important. Like I can refer to a project that we recently completed with Note. So with Cristiano and his team, we reused a lot of the original elements of the building, and like the herringbone floor and lots of the facade and things like that. But ultimately, I feel that sustainability is a lot about being classic, durable, and having the quality. Because if an item is classic and it's not driven by trends, specifically when you think about furniture, then it's going to last generations. And what's more sustainable than being able to hand down an item to your children? So I think a lot about sustainability is about being beyond trends and being timeless and inherently sustainable in that way.
Thank you. Mimmi, Swedish furniture is known for having high quality, but what does it really mean? What defines high quality to you?
Well, for me and for Blåstation, high quality is a combination of many things, and it has to be part of the equation when you start the thought around the product or when you develop a product. So it has to be, as Nazim says, high quality in the design so that you want to live with the product for a long time. It also has to be high quality when it comes to materials and means, because then it can stand the wear and tear over time, and also by the everyday use that contract furniture is the way you use them is on public spaces where people come and go every day. Also very important to have high quality in function so that the furniture fills the purpose that you have when you place them in different areas. So that's also a long perspective thinking you have to have from the beginning. And you have to choose the right techniques, industrial processes, and you have to decide where you want to produce. We produce very much nearby. If not in Sweden, then in neighbor countries. But that's the way we see it. We have that possibility to make those decisions. We are a family business, so really it's up to us. It's also extremely important to think about sustainability. Of course, it has to be there already from the beginning. The way you produce, so it's not harmful either for the interior, environmental issues in the production lines or for the users when they are in use. And you also have to think about recyclabilities, possibilities to have a longer life when the place they are originally designed for is no longer using them. What happens then? And that is something you have to consider all the way.
Thank you. Cristiano, if you compare Swedish furniture with furniture from other countries, how do they differ in terms of quality and the way they look at the quality aspect?
I mean, a tricky question, I would say, because I think it's very difficult to say that furniture from one country has a better quality than furniture from other country. I would more say that there is company that work with the quality, and there is company that work with less quality. So that comparison, I think, is more close to reality. I mean, in general, I believe that there is good quality furniture coming from all over the world. Many brands are more and more conscious on what good quality product can be in terms of production, new technique, material choices, long lasting, of course, sustainability and design. But if for me, all those elements are part of what Swedish furniture are. They are representing. We are not trying to catch up with something that we are not used with. So if I really have to find something that for me represents Swedish furniture, is that there is this feeling of something that you can inherit, something that you can survive generations in a way. That feeling for me, coming from Italy, is something very strong here in Sweden. I mean, everyone talk about the grandmother sofa or the grandfather table, and I feel this is very an important element for being a Swedish furniture. It's something that really can survive and can be used by different generations. I mean, is a best sign of quality. There is nothing better than that. So, and in a way, is represented in the society. So,
very interesting, Cristiano. Thank you, Jenny. We talk about inclusive design, but what does it really mean, inclusive design? What's important for us Swedes when we talk about inclusive design?
I agree with Cristiano. I think it's a bit of a tricky question to answer, but I think it's about collaboration. I think that Swedes are it's kind of the foundation for the Swedish way of doing things, is to collaborate, to find solutions, to include different voices in a decision, for example. And I think this also goes for the design sector. I think collaboration is an important foundation. Well, it's also core for the project that I love to talk about. And I think it's really the Swedish Design Movement is built on the idea that you can learn from each other across design disciplines to make a stronger result together. So I think it's about collaboration, and of course you can define inclusive design in other ways as well, but this is my perspective.
Thank you. I think we can point out that Swedish furniture and design represents quality, sustainability, and inclusiveness. As I said in the introduction, 70% of the furniture produced in Sweden is exported. Cristiano, what are the international architects and buyers asking for?
Okay, I would say that value for money, and by saying value for money, I'm not saying cheap. It's just like the feeling that you're spending some money to buy something that has the right value. So that means, as we've been discussing, I mean, quality and sustainability and identity. And because I think that buying a product today is not just like buy a piece of furniture. Buying a product like we are doing also every day when we decide to buy something, that things we buy is representative also for what we believe. So, and that's what I think that architects and buyers are looking when they want to decide to buy something. They are looking what we are buying, what is represent, where it come from. It comes from Sweden, it comes from another country. And so there is so much value in an object that is not just a function. It really represents the person that buy that. everyone want to say something with the object that surround us. So in a way, I think if we connect this thought to the Swedish furniture industry or the Swedish product in general, it's like when you buy something from Sweden, you buy also a way of being, a way of living. And the product are representing what Sweden is as a country, as a society. So that's, yeah. How do we live here can easily be seen and felt in a piece of Swedish furniture, I think.
Very interesting, Cristiano. Nassim, in your opinion, how is it, any experience, what is it like to work with Swedish suppliers? Are they any different?
I think working with Swedish suppliers, you're almost assured that there's a level of quality there, which is quite reassuring as someone who's procuring or purchasing. So yeah, that's one thing, you know. And also I love that Swedish suppliers like to take you on a journey with them to fully understand the product. So they'll happily talk about how the product was made, designed, how it's shipped to you. They're very transparent. So I think there's an element of relief there as someone who's specifying furniture, that there's a level of quality, there's integrity and transparency there.
How do you choose interior design and furniture projects? How do you choose interior design and furniture in projects? What is it that makes you take the decision, this furniture I want to have?
It's actually a lot about what Cristiano just mentioned about, as well as the aesthetics have to match, it needs to be the right product. We often make sure that the brands we're aligning with are brands that share our values. So that could be, you know, around well-being or sustainability, but we want to be sure that any objects that are in our spaces represent or share common values with us. So yeah, that's a lot of what we think about. Thinking specifically about Swedish design, what I do love about specifying Swedish design is that there's an element of pushing design boundaries as well. So as well as being safe and sustainable and all the kind of tick box things that you want to see, you're also, you'll always be pushed. And yeah, my experience, for example, with Note Design Studios and the 2 spaces they've designed for us, they really, really pushed our boundaries, but also challenged us in the right ways and asking the right questions. So I feel like it might be a bit of a generalization, but a lot of the experience we've had with Swedish designers and furniture products really do push and challenge design boundaries.
Thank you. Interesting. Mimi, can you tell us about export projects that have been very successful for Blåstation?
Yes, I could, but I don't think I should go there. I could name quite a few, but I think it's more interesting to reflect on why they have been successful or what about them that has been successful. And first I must agree with Nassim and Cristiano in what they have said. I think it's very much about what you as a brand is carrying. What are our values? What are we providing the market? And I think when it comes to Blåstation's stories, they are not an after construction, they have been there from the start. And we are constantly searching for what is not yet seen, what is yet to be discovered. And to make a new product for us means that we have to add something new that makes it new. Could be a new function or form or material or something else. But that also makes the project that we love, export projects that are very successful, more in reaction to, if we do this, if we produce a share like Sting share, produced in 2003, that ends up in thousands and thousands on some different projects around the world, and after 10, 15 years, there is still no claims. They are in perfect order, the customer is happy and are making more orders for the same share. That is a very good reference, and that answers to us a little bit about being right and at that time. But it could also be like we sell to an airport with 24/7 use of furniture. And when we pass a couple of years later, we are still very happy and they look beautiful. That's also a kind of good feeling, successful, I think, project. But I think also that the very small or medium size, it doesn't have to be a big project to be a successful export project. It could be the ones that ends up as door openers. That is what has happened for us the last years. After being constantly on the export markets, finding the right company, the right relationships, distributors, agents, they work with the project, they find a project which suddenly opens the eyes for architects that haven't wanting or seen us before, for thinking that Plåtstation is the small quirky company, but now they see that no, you can buy our furniture. They are really good. That's good. That's a good feeling.
Good examples. If we look a bit ahead, we could see the more competitive market where it will be important to strengthen both your own brand but also the Swedish brand to stand out in the competition. Jenny, what is the Swedish Design Movement aiming for and how should the goals be achieved?
Well, we aim for strengthening the design industry in Sweden by communicating Sweden and Swedish strengths. And I mean, your strength, I think you have described them very well here. And I think the values that you have highlighted here are the ones that we as a nation also like to communicate. So, and by this, we want to of course, increase the exports in the long run. But we do that through communication and like giving a platform for Swedish design companies, designers and architects to be seen internationally.
Mimi, what's needed to increase Swedish furniture export?
I believe that the main effort must come from within the company itself. You need to put a strategy and follow it and don't give up. Be present on the market, try and try again if it doesn't give the result you want from the beginning. You have to choose your agent or distributors very carefully because you are going to live with them for a long time. And it's very good if you like to go on a dinner with them without thinking, So, because they are going to carry your brand. So build that relationship and pay attention to the needs, I think, and stay focused. Don't give up. I think those are very important things. And export is different, no matter which market, which is your own. Export markets are different. They are not only one market, they are many markets. So what they need or ask for in one country is maybe not what they need and ask for in another country. And the way you do business in the Middle East is very different from how you do business with Denmark. So you have to, I think, have that with you when you enter the end. And then remember that Rome wasn't built in a day. So let it take some time. It's worth it.
Yeah. Thank you, Mimi. Cristiano, how do we ensure that we remain relevant and attractive for the international customer?
Yeah, if I know the answer, I will be really
I think you do.
I mean, no, I can't try. I mean, I think what Jenny and organization they are doing, the Swedish Design Movement, is the right things to do because I think a very clear identity, a clear strategy, and also have the courage also to show what makes Swedish design unique, what makes the Swedish design industry unique. I mean, Swedish design industry is part of this big Scandinavian design. Yeah, that's good, but it's just a part of the big picture. And we really need to show what we stand for and why we are different if we compare ourselves to the Danish or to the Finnish, or it's something, and we have a unique identity. So I think keep doing what the Swedish company are doing, focusing on quality. I mean, they have a huge record of making good quality and lasting product, huge record of working with in a good condition for the employees. I mean, sometimes we forget this part, but it's so important. I mean, the people that are working every day in making good quality furniture, how they are and how they feel, what the situation for them. And I think Sweden is really on top of that. And I mean, a record of thinking sustainability and innovating production process. So, and of course, also this possibility of having a school of good designers and architects. I mean, I think Swedish design as an industry, and when we see designer as part of this industry, they are exporting a lot. I mean, we see ourselves as a studio. We are working maybe 60% with the company outside Scandinavia, and I know a lot of other designers that are also exporting the knowledge around the world. So I think it's important to keep doing the good things that Swedish design and Swedish design furniture industry are doing, and in the same time be even more clear on the identity. This is us. This is Swedish design. We are part of Scandinavian design, but we are Sweden.
Thank you, Cristiano. That was very good. A good summary of our discussion today. We are nearing the end now. I don't know if Nassim, do you have anything to end? What do you take with you from our discussion today?
Yeah, I think I'm really inspired by how much like sustainability and inclusiveness is on the agenda with all the people on this panel, and it kind of shows me that it's at the forefront of the design industry's thoughts. So yeah, for me that's super inspiring.
Good. I hope you leave this discussion with a great aware of that Swedish furniture design represent high quality, sustainability and inclusiveness. Our design creates expression and gives impressions on different continents. And Sweden furniture and decorates the world with boundless Swedish design. Many thanks to you in the panel and our guests that have been with us on the web. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.